Hello and welcome with a lot of energy, ordered by Jonah. That was
Let's go.
so clunky. That's so good. This is episode 46. If I checked out before, it's our first PQ episode of the year, basically. And I'm here with Jonah, the king
hello.
of Swiss, and here with Steven, first time joining here on the podcast, not first time on the channel, but in the pod. Welcome.
Yeah. Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, no problem.
It's been a long time coming. We've really been wanting to get some more Danish representatives here. So
Yeah, it was
really
about
nice to
time.
have
Like you're just hoarding it with Norway and Sweden represented, so
Yeah.
better do my part.
Yeah,
that's good.
Jonah and all his personalities is basically all the Norway gets.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a lot of Sweden so far, but really nice to have you here. Today we are going, as mentioned, talk about a lot about PQs. We all attended the Copenhagen PQ, so that would be a main focus for the episode. But we are definitely going to talk a little bit more about some other PQs and the PQ meta overall, because it's been like, what did we say, like 74 PQs, 34, I mean, sorry, not 74, 34 PQs total. And Copenhagen isn't the only one relevant. But so that's going to be the focus for today's episode. So we're not going to do any long what's been up to, because we all been up to PQ in Copenhagen.
Yeah.
That's what we've been doing, prepping for it and playing it.
But I think maybe we should take some time for the listeners who don't know Steven.
Yes.
So, Steven, do you maybe want to just say a few words about yourself
Well,
to the listeners? Who are you?
Sure. Well, some people might know me from our Cat Bane Blue deck set back like early fall last year. We first got acquainted at the Malmö game week. You and I, Jonah, we were playing the top 8 against each other, which was, I think, still to this day, like one of my favorite matches that I've ever played. It was just, we were both like on the same wavelength about how the game should be played, and we both were very like eager to get the game played and also finished. But it went to time, we spent a lot of time on it, just smashing cards like back and forth down on the table. So yeah, and after that you invited me and of course Jonas as well to have a little talk about the Cat Blue. Apparently people were interested in that, and yeah, we've stayed in touch since. And
Yeah, that was a blast.
Yeah.
And you're local to Copenhagen?
Yeah, I am. I'm playing with a bunch of other people. We have quite a few stores actually in the Copenhagen area doing weekly plays. I think there's like 5 stores, which I believe is a lot.
Yeah, that's really
all
great.
with like their own weekly play date. I was gonna say. I know they've been like in talks with each other to make sure that also their events don't mesh up, and to make sure that they don't put their weekly day on the same day. So yeah, you can play.
That's really
you can
nice.
play Star Wars Unlimited in the Copenhagen area almost every day.
Yeah, it's really smart.
It's pretty cool, honestly. So yeah,
I think we have 5 weekly leagues in Sweden, maybe, like in whole. So
in the whole country.
Yeah, something that I know of. I don't have any weekly play, but so 5 in that smaller area is pretty good. Yeah, I'd say.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So plenty of opportunity, and also very nice to like just go and hang out with people. It's such a friendly community, and of course people frequent more than one store, so it's just really nice vibes all around.
Yeah, and it has to be super nice to like have multiple stores to also go to showdowns and other events. So
yeah, definitely
sounds really nice.
Yeah, for me, living in not in the southest part of Sweden, but quite south, it's like way closer to Copenhagen than to Stockholm. I've been over to Copenhagen like 3 times, I think, since Unlimited started. It's been really nice all the times, actually. So
happy to hear.
Well, yeah, I think first time was on the CC's Store Showdown.
Yeah, I think so, because I back then I was very new to the game myself. I think it was my second showdown shortly after the first one, and I remember I think you played against Jonas actually.
In the final, yeah.
Yeah.
I think if I remember, Boba Blue he had some Boba Blue deck with a little bit more unit heavy, control style, and I played Han Green. I was on the OP train then.
Yeah.
So that was fun. That was a fun event. Not only because I won, but it was fun from the start because all the Swedes started to. We were 4 Swedes, and rest was Danish, and we got paired against each other in round 1, and then in round 2, the losers got paired with each other and the winner with each other. So we just knocked each other out. Like one of us faced all 3 in 5 rounds of Swiss. It was pretty.
And that was awful. Before they had to use melee, right? So it's probably some rigged system.
Yeah, we all entered at the same time, so they just entered in the system.
Basically. And still, Sweden managed to take the victory. We didn't do a good enough job, apparently.
Yeah,
it wasn't rigged enough.
No, not rigged enough. No. So let's dive into the PQ season. Now we're in season 3, and there is quite some interesting results. Like it's definitely more open than the last meta, with a lot of Boba Green wins and a lot of Boba wins after all. Has anything surprised you guys so far?
I think you mentioned Han Green being the OP train, and it's something you've been saying a lot, like that Han is a really strong leader.
Yep.
So right now it's not that surprising to see him on top, with Han Yellow having 9 wins. But Sabine is also up there. That's kind of it's just a thing we expected with Boba going away. Who's gonna now stop Sabine? But other than that, I would say I'm a bit surprised.
I also pretty surprised, not necessarily by who's been winning the tournament, but we'll also dive into that a bit later. But just the spread of the different decks. I was very curious going into the Copenhagen PQ. Okay, I have an idea of what decks will show up, but I had no idea in what percentage each deck would have their share in, and for a good reason apparently, because it turned out that it was going to be a complete mix-up with a bunch of niche decks and also the popular expected ones. And even looking at some of the results, I'm very happy to see some of these new leaders as well. Some of the niche ones, like Mace Blue has gotten a win, Yoda has gotten a win even as well, Quinlan won, and so on. So even being afraid of all this Django hype after Boba getting banned as well, seeing Anakin growing a bit popular, and of course Sabine is always running strong, but still there's room for some of these newer, more niche leaders to still pop up and get some wins. I even see there's 2 Fennec Reds that got top 8s, and I just like them. I'm really excited about how many different decks seem to do okay now.
Yeah, it's a very, as you say, wide meta. So if you just lock in the right meta for your deck, you can go basically almost anyway, always to the top. Because I think the only reason we don't see even more one-offs here is that it's only 34. I think it's going to grow with a few more coming in.
And honestly, I feel like the set 3 meta is less of a rock, paper, scissors thing than what we had earlier. I feel like earlier it was more the archetypes. One deck did really well into Sabine, but lost against Control, and you had these matchups that were kind of more favored, I feel like. But now there's so many decks who can basically go 50-50 into almost anything.
I think we have some decks that are like these rock paper scissors decks, but we definitely have a lot of these decks that just seems to be around the 50-50 with most, which is very interesting. Which means, and also since we have a wider meta, it's not like, oh, I'm bad into Boba, I will face him 2 times at least in Swiss. It's like maybe I'm bad to Quinlan, but I might not even face him at all in Swiss. Which is very, very fun when you look at the stat, but when you're prepping for a tournament, it's very difficult. As you said, Steven, I had no idea what's going to happen in Copenhagen, which we will get to later. It completely took me by surprise.
But I would say another thing that is surprising is the lack of blue-green villainy. I feel like that was such a strong archetype in the first two sets, like
Yep.
with Krennic, Aiden, Kira, but there's not that much of it. But I hope it maybe can rise up again and come back. But
Yeah, there is one Kira winner and a Krennic winner.
yeah,
So some people have showed that they can play it.
yeah,
Maybe when we got to the Stockholm meta with all the Krennic players there,
yeah,
it will get some representation in the top 8 at least.
that would be
Maybe,
cool.
hopefully not a win, because I will be there and I will not play Krennic or Kira.
Yeah.
But that's where I would look for it to like get like an over representation.
I'm sure Victor would be
Yeah.
happy to show it off.
Yes. So yeah, like for me, like it took me a little bit by surprise. The Han Yellow, like at first when it got popped in, I was though like already starting to play it a little bit during the winter, like feeling it. For a while, I was just thinking like Boba is banned, and I thought that like I have always been on the opinion that Han was the better leader, just not the same support. So I was like,
Mm.
but why am I not just playing the most broken leader? So I just there is a great deck there, so I start playing
Yeah.
it, and now, especially in week 2 of PQ season, we've seen him like taken over, because he was like on
Yeah.
third place or something like from the first week, second or third. And it might actually escalate unless he's counterable in some way.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm not upset about Han Yellow being the most popular.
No,
It's a bit annoying when you get DJ'd 3 times in a row. I'll get
I've
back to
done
that
it.
one.
I did
But
it.
you did it too?
Yes, I DJ'd
Oh,
someone
no.
3 times in a row. Not in a
But
row, but 3 times same game.
at least Han Yellow
twice,
is kind of
yeah.
holding the hard control players a bit back, because
Yeah,
that's
tried.
known to be a pretty good matchup for Han. So since Han Yellow is so popular now,
Yeah.
maybe there won't be as much. I mean, hard control is cool, but it's a bit exhausting to play into. That's why I'm
Not the most
on that
eventful,
opinion.
despite playing a lot of events, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We'll get to someone who played a lot of hard control in Copenhagen later. But Steven, is anything here like that speaks to you? Anything especially like the absence of Django Red wins or something? Or
Yeah, a little bit, I think. But other than that, somewhat as expected. No Bosk Blue wins, even though there's a lot of Bosk Blue
yeah,
top 8s.
top 8s.
We saw Bosk
Yeah.
Blue like get a lot of popularity towards the end of set 2, but maybe that hasn't translated too well going into the third set.
Yeah.
There were a few in Copenhagen as well, but it's going to be interesting to see if they can adapt, or maybe he's just not that great right now. I am happy personally to see like the one Cat Blue winner. I'm sad that it's not me, but or Jonas, but maybe we'll join the list at some point.
Yeah, like I agree with the Boss Blues. But looking at these winners, like that Joda Red has stolen a victory and a Mace Blue, I'm very surprised that Boss Blue hasn't stolen a win at some place actually. And even some of the, it's only one Pulp Yellow that like Pulp Green or Pulp Blue has not found a win at some place. Maybe they'll show. I'm really surprised that Anakin Green has gotten one though. I am not really like a fan of the deck by any means. Not flaming it, but like that it has won is really surprises me. So,
but when I click on the link, I get directed to a Han Blue. So maybe just the graphic is wrong.
Could
they
be
put the wrong picture.
Could be. But it's a 5 to 8 Han Blue. Maybe the deck is not there. I know every deck list isn't in. So maybe that could be the case as well.
Maybe the link is wrong, or it actually was the young Han Blue. But I'm actually seeing a pattern here. We have, of course, yellow Han 1 wins. We have now a blue Han 1 win.
Yep.
A red Han 1. So maybe this is a call for us to go back to the green Han and get the last PQ with.
Or maybe not, because do you remember what happened to a leader when
I was gonna
it
say
won with four different colors?
I thought this was gonna be a segue into like getting Han one band or something.
Yeah. I like, people have, just because he didn't dominate in set 2, he did dominate a fair bit in set 1, but I think if he dominates here in set 3, he should be still sort of fine, because like set 2 he was so weak. But honestly, like, a lot of the yellow Han wins came this weekend, and like, if red and blue also pick up some win here, because the blue list was very, very creative. I'm gonna say, because I almost made the same list at the start of the set and then jumped off it, because I didn't nail the last pieces of it, obviously, but I would really like the idea. Now there's 2 of them and the cheating
Yeah,
stuff.
I remember our first game of set 3 was against the blue Han list.
Yeah.
Where you Yoda'd into something.
Yeah.
But, it's cool to see someone. And
Who has
I mean,
worked on it.
Joshua is like an amazing deck builder, right?
Yeah.
You should check out his blog if you haven't already. He's the one that popularized Boba Green in the UK or something. So.
Oh, is that the guy who won it in Manchester?
I'm mixing it up maybe now, but I feel like he's just been on a lot of great inventions.
Right. But another thing to notice is like the average PQ attendance is like 75, which is
very good, actually.
It's pretty good, especially like now when they've increased it. This like set with 3 times more than the last set. That it still keeps a lot of like value. Players are still coming and traveling. Like we are traveling. Like Jonah, you traveled pretty far, Trondheim to Copenhagen, so is a while, and like it's fun to see that people still travel, even though everyone is kind of agreeing on that some of the cards you get as prizes is not the funniest, and that we hope that they will get a little bit fancier. But people want to compete, and
it's still fun to just battle it out, and also to like prove if you have an original like decks, you want to prove that it is something, right? That it can hold its own battle.
Yeah, we totally agree. We've been trying to show off the Anakin blue now this set, and you guys with the CAD blue last set. It's definitely fun to come with something a little bit like of your own. So let's maybe move over to the Copenhagen PQ. So like we all attended, but the Nordic Takedown podcast also had like a stream. It was casted by Victor, I think, all day long, with some guests. I think Philip was on, Jacob was on, Pontus was on, and Jason. Right? Am I missing someone?
I haven't been able to watch it.
I think it was
just some bits and pieces.
You guys, you four. If there was a fifth, I'm so sorry, because I have not watched everything yet. But big thank you all for like helping out on the cast, and shout out to Victor, who did the Jonah job this time.
And big shout out to Jason, also setting up all the technical work behind it and really putting in hours to make the stream as best as possible, providing the equipment that we could bring down.
And like really fun to see that over 3,000 people have like watched it and afterhands. Really nice. So moving.
Just one quick comment. Like I checked in on the stream every now and then, in the breaks and also in the top 8, and the comment section was just like flooding compared to some of the earlier streams, I think. And I saw so many like nice comments about both the quality and of the stream, and like even the visuals. Someone commented on like, oh, like the graphics are so cool, and they really appreciated the casting as well. So yeah, I think definitely a big win for you guys, just very excited for the podcast.
It was really great collaboration and communication with Ricky and Thomas, the judges that helped us out.
Really
And
smooth. I
also
did not
thanks
have to do
to
much.
Faros, of course,
Yeah.
hosted a great PQ with also great prizes.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Even though my pre-release box was not that good. But
Maybe
and we
that's
hope that
karma,
we
Adam.
can
That's not
provide.
the fault of the store.
Yeah, maybe karma for giving away a win. You should just take the draw, Adam. No, we hope to provide like a similar quality on the Oslo and Stockholm stream as well.
Yeah,
So
looking forward to it.
yeah, so let's start. It was like 50 people playing this PQ. We played 6 rounds of Swiss into a top 8, and like let's start with you, Stephen. How was your day? Like just in general, and then your
Yeah,
run.
like it was a great experience. I had fun. It was very nice to see some old faces again, both from people I played at Malmö Game Week and also at the first PQ in Copenhagen that I got to see again. It's always nice to once you get to know people and see them at the tournament when you don't get to see them at your weekly plays, right? So it was
Yeah.
a great day overall. No drama, just good vibes.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, Jonah, as well, like Master Ricky and Padawan Thomas, they did a great job just keeping everything together during the day. So it was super nice.
Yeah.
Going into the tournament, I had a lot of mixed feelings. I didn't play Premier for a whole month going into the PQ, except for the Thursday just before at our like weekly page, just to brush up a little bit. So I felt very rusty. I had no idea what, yeah, as we talked about, like what exactly was the meta gonna look like. The night before, I'm sure a lot of people know this. Like I decided, okay, I think my deck is okay. The last time I played a month ago, it seemed great, but okay, let me change these 2 cards.
Yeah.
It was a good change, so I was very happy with it. But yeah, that was like the state I was in. The first round I played against a Ray Tarkentown, a newer.
What did you end up bringing, by the way?
Oh yeah, of
Yeah.
course. Probably
We know, but for the
probably won't
listeners.
surprise the people that know me at least. I brought Catbane Blue. So did Jonas as well. We've been continuing our work with it, and we're still happy with how the deck is performing. So yeah, Cat Blue going into the Copenhagen PQ in the first round. I went against Ray Tarkentown. Not the biggest fan of these blue-red heroic decks, but it went okay. Also a bit of a newer player, so especially playing against this Cat Blue list, if you don't know what you're going into, it can be very, very difficult to navigate. So that was definitely in my favor, I would say.
I think you played against Marcus from Sweden,
I
right?
think so, yeah, because he mentioned going
yeah.
with some of you guys. So yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
He talked about
He's one of the co-hosts of the Always Tell Me the Odds pod.
yeah.
Podcast.
Yeah, exactly. So I
Nice.
was chatting a bit with him, and he mentioned that he's a newer player. I think he's been playing for 2 months or something by now, and he wanted to come along for the ride and just check out the event. And apparently, you guys convinced him to actually, like, if you're going to watch, why not just play? And I think that was a great choice. I was rooting for him and trying to hype him up a little bit. So I hope he ended up having a great day. So yeah.
Yeah, I think so. He even got a win with Ray against Sabine.
Oh.
So I think he was happy with it.
Nice.
Cool. But yeah, moving on. Round 2, I went into Anakin Blue. I won that one 2-1, so it was a bit rougher, but I managed to do okay. Round
Beating 2 blue-red decks. Nice.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I think it should be a little bit tough for the CAD with the blue-red, if they go discard package at least.
Yeah, it can be very rough. I think Jonah might touch upon that a bit later. Round 3, I went into the matchup that somehow we always get to play mirror match into Jonas and of course
Yeah.
his Catbane Blue. And when the third round started and people saw, like, most of the locals' reaction was like, "Oh my god, are you gonna play again?" So yeah, we're not happy about it either. But we came up with this rule when we face off against each other, because the Catbane Blue and of course any kind of control mirror matchup really tends to drag out. It's a long game, so to speed things up a bit, we have agreed to do 15, 15, 10 health on the base. So for the first 2 games, we will play to 15 health. and then for the third, if we go to a third, we will play for 10 instead of the normal 30, to turn it into like this kind of acro tempo game instead of control. Super fun and definitely speeds things up. Unfortunately, I still lost 0-2. Round 4, I met Pankas, who is a Swedish guy. I met him first time in Malmö Game Week, and also at the PQ actually. So I think he was eager for revenge because I won the last 2 times, but unfortunately I took it again. So I told him better luck next time. Round 5.
What did he play?
He played Boss Green.
One of the Boss Green
Yeah.
plays. ECL, right?
Maybe I don't remember the ECL, but it might be because I saw the numbers of the list and it didn't really add up for me. So probably Boss ECL,
yeah.
Round 5, I got to play Nicholas on Boss Green as well.
The
champion of the PQ, for people not knowing already. Apparently he was a bit afraid of the Cat Blue deck. He sat down and mentioned that if he could just take 1 win, I think, against the deck, he would be happy. I won the first game, felt very confident, was very close to winning the second one, but he just kept smashing Devastator after Crate Dragon after a bunch of other stuff, and managed to win both game 2 and 3. So I lost that one. But he was super nice, super friendly. He definitely deserved to go all the way, in my opinion. Round 6 against Quinlan Town, I lost that one 1-2. So ended up total 3-3. Was hoping for at least a top 16, so I need to do better for either Oslo or Stockholm. But with the amount of time and preparation I had going into the tournament, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, like we did kind of the reverse. You and I, it was you and I who was in the top 8 in the first PQ,
yep.
And Jonah and Jonas missed it, and now they got to go in the top 8.
Yeah, exactly. That's true. So,
what was which of these matches was the most fun ones? Like, I assume it was not the mirror.
I mean, with our own rule, it was still fun. Like we stopped thinking and we just play some cards. So it was actually still fun. But I think the game against Nicholas and his Boss Green was definitely the most intense game of the day. I really thought I had it for a long time, but he managed to do a pretty good comeback. I was a bit sour. I hope it didn't affect him. I didn't want it to take anything away from his victory, but I just needed to get my way back from it. So I think that one for sure. Always also an intense matchup with the Quinlan Town, kind of similar in the way that you want to go second and ping your opponent's units, right?
Yeah.
But he played the red discard package, so that was frustrating.
And that shows you were so close beating him, and Niklas ended up 4-2 and 7th place, right?
Yep.
So tight margins to get to these top cuts places.
Yeah.
And maybe he would not even made the top cut, and we had completely different winners. So
butterfly effect, right?
Yeah.
Those small things need to change in order for the outcome to be something completely different. But yeah, that's how it is.
Really cool. So we can move on to my run. We are gonna end with Jonas because it's the most inspiring one for everyone out there. I had a very weird tournament. Most people thought I was gonna come with Anakin Blue. Even some of the people came on where is Anakin? You're Mr. Anakin. And I was I switched to Han 1 yellow. Quite in the end, I've been practicing it for future tournaments. Didn't think I would be ready to play it in Copenhagen. Maybe I wasn't. I didn't make the cut. But that's what I brought. And I had thought it would be a little less control. I thought it was going to be some control, but there was a lot of control to... Not representative of how much I faced control, but it was still a lot of control.
I'm sorry, I should have warned you.
Yeah, next time, please do. But it still should be a good matchup, right? Because I play Han yellow, but it's very exhausting, playing so many games versus it. So it started off pretty well. I started up against a Bosk ECL, which That player actually ended up going 4-2. I think was someone from Denmark. Don't remember his first name, but I was pretty cruel to his hand, and then just won by removing the key stuff. So one of the games he didn't even get to play a card until 5 resources, I think, because it was first stolen and then booted and then Akira.
That's rough.
So it was kind of toxic in a way for him. But so that was game 1. Then game 2 is the game that I'm most frustrated about. I faced Pelp Yellow, and I stayed at Magnus, which was the player, his house. I slept at his place, and we went to the tournament together. And the Friday night before, we played the matchup, and I smashed him. I think he said it was right 8-2 to me in the wins. Like
Wow.
It was not close. And in game 1, he really gets a good start, and I mount like this a massive comeback. And then I just need the DL Blaster to finish him off. I look in my 15 resource pile because it's so late. I've DJ'd him once or twice and like can't find it. And I was like, okay, I don't have it. I attack. Then I look again and I find it.
No.
Which is so sad. I was like, it is here. And after that, I was like, okay, I can still win this. I play up a unit with a shield, and I was like, this is solid. And he hits me for 10 with a Devastator, and I'm like, okay, I have 14 HP left. It's okay. I'm playing my Han Solo, so I have 2 units out. And he's like, you have no cards left in your deck, right? And I was like, looking at him, I was like, no. So he just claims, and he wins off fatigue and Devastator hit.
Oh, that's rough. I guess the conclusion is that Han 1 Yellow can have too many resources for his own good.
Yes, yeah. And then that game had taken like 35 minutes. So we had 20 minutes to play out the other ones, played super fast. And I kind of lost the second one as well, because you need to think a little bit with Han Yellow and not just run into a pulp. So that was a bit frustrating. Then I went on my control path. I started with Akira Green. And that was fun. I got to DJ him 3 times in one game. I could see his like maybe a little bit of frustration on the third DJ. It's like, really, and like, but so I won that 2-0, but it still took time. It's like only like 15 minutes left for the clock, and then I'm going to like wrap up my other 3 games in like 1, because I faced Boss Blue, Boss Blue, Boss Blue. And that was like so exhausting playing these games. Like I think I went down to 0 cards in my deck like 5 times on the day, 5 or 6 times, winning a few of those games. Actually, I won all of them when I went down to 0 cards, except the one against Magnus when I died on fatigue. And it was the first boss guy faced. He and we played a long 35 minutes first game, or it was 40, something like that. I took it down with like some of my last cards, playing like from the resource pile until he couldn't answer. Then game 2, like if I was more of a smarter, douchier player, I should just have slow played it a bit more, because I knew like he cannot end me in 20 minutes. Like he just can't. But I played it fairly fast sometimes, like because I needed to think. And he actually beat me on overtime. Like they called time, and the round after, that's when I got beaten. And like we were both like kind of sitting there together, and he was like, we were both 2-1. And like just sitting silent, and he was like, this is a shitty way to end this game. And I was like, yeah. And then I was like, you can have the win, because like getting a draw is not good, especially good in this game. So he got it. He ended up going 5-1 later, so he actually made the cut, which was at least nice. Then I played like 2 other boss blues. One of them I won pretty easily against. I think he played it the least of the players, because the other ones, I don't remember his name, the one I played in the 6th game, but he's from Denmark, and he was playing Boba Yellow in the Malmö game week.
Mike?
Played against Jonah. Yeah, Mike, yeah.
Yep.
we had also like the really crazy long game going down to 0 cards, and that's pretty fun, like playing without. I think I took fatigue damage for 3 rounds because he had only done like 3 damage. So I was like, and I think in the last round in game 2, he was like looking at my base like, yeah, I can take a 4th before I lose. So I just keep playing. So I won that one and ended up 4-2, losing out on strength of schedule, basically.
But you made top 16 though, right?
Yes, 12th place. So it was very fun. Pretty happy with the deck. Too bad ending on that, like a hot shot thing.
Yeah, of course. I think going into the tournament, the deck that I wanted to face the very least was definitely Busk Blue. Not because I think it's my worst matchup, but just because it's such a long game, right? Like it really drags out, and you can't necessarily do much. Just get everything removed and need to still deal with a big child center or something like that. So it's just tiring. It can be tiring to play against, and especially doing 3 in a row. That's wild.
Yeah, that was kind of. It was like, again, are we this many?
Yeah.
Like, especially going from the like kind of a loser side, like from 2-1, 2-2, and up.
There were 4 in total, so pretty impressive that you managed to meet like 3 of them in a row.
Yeah, not just 3 like in the tournament, like 3 in a row. It's kind of insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just gonna like pause here, and we're back. Weird pause here. We had some muting issues, and by the hero of the Copenhagen Swiss.
Yeah.
How did you feel? You brought the Anakin.
I brought our baby.
Yeah.
Anakin Blue. I had actually a brief chat with Tobias Lind, one of the co-creators. That was, I think it helped me out. He was just like, Governor is too good. It's a mistake playing less than 3. So he's kind of convinced me to. I had my last list was from the top cut of December, where I played 2 governors, and in the previous season I played 1 governor, so now it's time for 3 governors. So I cut down on some spaceships, and also had to only play 1 Stila because I only had the 1 card. But yeah, I pretty happy with the list I brought.
I also noticed that you had changed like and played only 1 Arc and 2 Anakin's Interceptor.
Yeah,
that was so kind of weird for me
because I don't know
You're
why.
not the first one to bring it up, Adam. So.
Okay.
Yeah, Jonas already roasted me why I just wouldn't play 3 of the better card.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I've just been playing the deck for so long, so like micro adjusting it all the time, just by what I feel like has been working. And I also like to have some variety, some one-offs, because in some matchups, you like the resource decisions can often then feel more impactful when you have more options. You don't see as many duplicates. You can resource the worst card, obviously, as you always do, but I feel like in this game, actually, 1 and 2 offs are not as bad as many people say. Like, I get the consistency argument, but regardless, I actually ended up bringing a redemption in the list, but didn't play it once.
I'm not surprised.
I brought it because I wanted more to force throw. Like, I was so scared of Han yellow. So I went from 2 to 3 Canaans to have like a 5 resource play where I played Kanan and then force throw their Han Solo. That was like my plan there with, 7 cards that had more than 6 costs. But I think enough about the list. It was just a blast playing. So friendly faces all around. Especially being there for the second time felt really nice. Not everything being new and stressed about.
Yeah, you knew what you were coming back to. So
Yeah,
it was
exactly.
more familiar this time, and that's always nice.
Yeah. I met a Swede that I hadn't played against before. He played Quinlan Tarkentown game 1.
Yeah, Emil, so nice guy.
Yes, super nice and a great player. Honestly, like the games were so tight, and he realized like he did a slight mistake game 1 that would have won him the game. I didn't have anything to do.
I think he's a previous world champion in like Star Wars CC, like an older Star Wars game and stuff like
Told me
that.
he's played a lot of it. Yeah.
Yeah, so he has won a lot of tournaments. I faced him in a small tournament in Växjö once.
Yeah.
So he's really good.
Yeah. And then so that was Quinlan, went 2-0, but could have been 0-2, honestly. that's for all of my games. They were so tight, but I feel like that's always the case with Anakin because you kind of play with your life, right?
Yeah.
So when you're finishing the game, you have a lot of damage on your base, so it's kind of tight. Round 2, I met Sebastian, local and friend of you, Steven, right?
Yep. Very good friend of mine, yeah.
Sebastian Hansen?
No, Sebastian Nilsson, playing Cat Bane Tarkentown.
Yeah.
Honestly, it felt like that was his game to lose, kind of the matchup. It seemed hard, and like I was on the back foot all the time. I don't remember who won the first one. I think he might have won the first one, and then I did the reverse sweep, and actually ending game 3 with a governor saying Ruthless Raider, and then like he draws sneak attack Ruthless Raider.
That's so brutal.
And he can't play it, right? So, that was just felt really good after, but must have been very frustrating for him. But we had a great chat, and he ended up doing really, really well and finishing top 4.
And that is like an example of how good regional governor is in a good player's hands, right? Knowing what to say in every moment, and knowing like what will kill me, what is the most hurtful right now. So
you really need to know what are the threats in this moment from my opposing deck.
Yeah. And round 3, I placed Magnus on the yellow palp, and he played it super well. He won the first game pretty comfortably, I think. Second game was kind of a long one, and he did a misplay where he forgot to basically sacrifice the unit he had change of hearted, because he had another really nice target for the palp ability. So in the moment he used it on that, and then he realized, oh shit, I should of course have used it on the Obi-Wan. Next turn he got another change of heart, so it wasn't the worst misplay, but I ended up winning the game with just so many spaceships and tiny units. And game 3 just worked. I had a curve units and won it. So it felt kind of strange. Couldn't really utilize the discard package because he played it really well with using the palp's ability, and he couldn't empty his hand, but
it's
ended up just
matchup.
winning on the ground. Yeah, it's super tricky. And then why does it say? Oh yeah, I'm looking on the wrong player actually. Round 4, Niklas, and the champion. It was super fun. Like, he's such a jolly guy. Like his mood is just so nice to be around, and we played on stream, so you can check that one out. Won it 2-1. And then round 5,
which is also quite a difficult matchup.
Yes. But both games I won felt really good. I think it was because he didn't draw resupplies. In the final, spoiler alert, we met again in the final. He resupplied, I think, both games, and was just really hard to deal with. Bosk one turn earlier than in the other games.
Yeah.
And then round 5, I want to give a shout out to Christian. He came all the way from Romania. It was super nice to
you
meet
played
him.
him in the Swiss as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Managed to win 2-0. He played Han Yellow. That's one of the matchups I was scared and had kind of teched a bit for. But I think I won it because he didn't get the best start, didn't DJ me either game. Even though like they were super close, one surprise strike or blaster away both games. So
that is
that
close.
says something about the matchup, yeah. And then last round, I was 5-0 meeting Kevin, also 5-0 on Sabine.
Ooh.
And he's
Which we have
the
seen.
champion from Cantina Brawl.
Yeah.
So he's a really good Sabine player. I feel like he had kind of teched a lot for Django, maybe. Didn't have... I don't know if it was because of the list or just because of the luck. But my 2 wins were pretty just straightforward, playing the cards in my hands, kind of. So it felt kind of good. I had already a lot of experience into Sabine from the Take the Initiative League.
Yeah.
But still
You
a very
have
rough
lot of
matchup.
wins. It's super tough.
Yeah. Like the force throw taking out Sabine in one of my games is just so valuable. So don't don't resource those Lukes and crates, even though you know you're not going to play them, because if you draw force throw, they're good targets.
For sure.
So I was 6-0. Felt really nice. Even though I could have been 0-6, it felt like in those close games. So quarters met Jonas on Cad Bane Blue. Of course, nice playing someone you know already. And I don't think I've played anyone I know. I think I've maybe once on Carabast played Cad Bane Blue, so that matchup was... I had some experience with it, but of course I had played it with Han Blue, so I knew just get the
That would work.
K2s, get the discard, and had amazing draws both games. So
You were a little bit afraid of it going into it.
yeah, I was memeing. I was trying to
Yeah.
be humble, like you, like, okay, I'm 6-0 now. I'm gonna get knocked out by FC.
Yeah. And I was just like, no, it's free. The matchup is free. It's not that it's a bad deck, but it's just Anakin Blue works very well into control and into like things that don't draw that much and doesn't have that much smuggle.
Yeah, it's difficult to play the game and remove like my opponent's units without any cards to play, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we talked about it a bit afterwards, that maybe for that matchup, some more cards that always go 1-for-1. So like a Jabba draws you a card, or smuggle cards like Lompike and stuff could be more helpful in matchups. But it's always hard to find the right balance between doing what your deck wants to do and also
exactly.
taking.
We were going into Malmö. We were very scared of especially Han Blue, and we did have like 2 Lompikes for that reason alone. This time we only had 1, so maybe that was the crucial mistake.
Yeah, but it's also the heart of the cards, right? If I don't draw the pillages and the K2s, then it would see much different.
Yeah.
So then semis, I got to play Christian again on yellow, and this time it was so much tougher. Game 1, I think that was the one where I got DJ'd 3 times.
Yeah, I think so.
It's so fun to DJ someone 3 times. The thing though
is like he didn't have that many other great plays. Like he didn't play the Hans, the Enfys, and so forth. So he had like just these small units. So I kind of kept on playing. And it came up to a point where my board was really big. I had an Obi-Wan out, so I felt kind of comfortable. And he had a Saboteur unit. And my tired dumb brain forgot that Saboteur doesn't care about Sentinel.
No.
So I just ignored it, and then he surprise attacked and finished the game. And the sad thing was, I was on 8 resources with the redemption in hand.
Oh my!
I was sitting on the side at this point, like watching the game. I was sitting on Jonah's side, so I could see his hand. I saw the board, like Jonah had Obi-Wan and Anakin out. I think Christian had the attack and the rogue operative Saboteur.
Yeah.
And all Jonah really needed to do was like attack with the Obi-Wan to kill the Saboteur. And I was just waiting for it to happen, because it even though Jonah was so far behind, it still looked very good for him, and he really just needed to do that. And then he picks up Anakin. I was like, okay, I guess you can kill it with Anakin instead. And then he goes 5 to base. I was like, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was like my first big blunder of the day. But I had done some reverse sweeps already, so tried not to give up going into game 2. Ended up getting DJ'd twice there, but it went a bit better. Don't remember why, but I managed to win. And ended up 2-1 against Christian. Really close. The last game, I remember him smuggling out the big falcon.
Yep.
It's really cool to see how impactful these 6-cost smuggle cards actually are. Just them being big threats. Like some people play Zori Bliss too.
Yep.
Which you also can smuggle for 6.
Like I've played that matchup so much, like just because before when I played Anakin, I played a lot against Han 1 Yellow, and then when I played Han 1 Yellow, I played a lot against Anakin because it just runs around everywhere. And that matchup is so difficult basically for both players. Like the Han one needs to keep like threatening like all the bad, like the nasty plays, and the Anakin basically needs to keep threatening the response all the time. And like because Anakin has a lot of responses, like for example to the Big Falcon, you have both Fell the Dragon and Takedown, and like it's such a very fun, like tricky matchup. A lot of the matchups are tricky, like in this meta, and which is very fun to be honest.
Yeah, so 1-1, and then got to play Niklas again in the final. So that was fun though, because we sat down and we're like, okay, Niklas champion confirmed, because my name is Jonah Niklas.
Yeah.
And yeah, he was just such a cheerful guy, so felt good. Felt really tired though, so losing game 1 was pretty rough. I was like, okay, what's gonna happen now? I think he triple ramped. No, I don't know, or something. But the second game, actually no, the first game, both games, I played Regional Governor.
Yeah.
First game, I managed to hit Bounty _Corey, so he didn't have a turn 1 play.
You really
but
did
second
it like the mind game way as well. I don't know if you want to share.
Oh yeah, we were joking all the time, just talking, right? So I was resourcing, then I'm playing my Regional Governor, and then I was like, yeah, I can see the reflection in your glasses, so I'm just gonna say Bounty _Corey.
And I was sitting on Nicholas's side this time, and I see the Bounty Hunter Quarry in his hand, and we talked about it after the game as well, that me and Nicholas, we weren't sure like if Jonah actually saw it or not, or if it was just like right. So yeah, that was a very fun moment, and just really nice to be able to have fun like that during the finals of a PQ after such a long day, right? It was just really good vibes overall. But yeah, Jonah, go on. Sorry.
Yeah, so kudos to him for like being so fun to be around. And second game, I had Regional Governor again. So it's like, okay, just gonna reproduce the great result, saying Bounty _Corey. But stupid me didn't think, what's worse than Bounty _Corey? Price on your head. Yeah. And that he had both in that game. And next turn, I think he resupplied, so he kind of got a triple ramp that I didn't have any answers to, obviously.
Yeah, Anakin can't really catch up triple ramp unless you like discard his whole hand and he just draws bad.
Yeah, but the thing is,
so hard.
Him going from 3 resources to 5 to 8 into a reinforcement walker, drawing cards.
Yeah, that's pretty GG.
But that's cool though, seeing a deck pop off like that.
Yeah, I think there is no deck that has that kind of, maybe Sabine, but has that potential to completely just mega stomp you. Like play crate when you haven't flipped your leader.
And now we know. Better to be safe and call price on your head, because double claiming a bounty on the scorer, yeah, there's some units on the board, but at least it's not a Crate Dragon or Reinforcement Walker.
Yeah. And you have some healing in your deck as well, so you can catch up. But yeah, with all the mistakes. So you basically did the same run that I did on the Cantina Brawl, 6-0 Swiss into a lost final.
Yep.
We're still missing that big win for Anakin. I guess it's my turn to bring it to some of the events. See which one.
But at least now I don't have to feel guilty having the day one buy and not going to Vegas.
Yeah, yep,
So
that's
it's a
true.
win-win.
Oh, yeah. So that was a fun event. Like, I don't think I've talked to anyone that didn't have fun. Like, we were quite a lot of people sticking around to the final. Some of us was kind of forced. I forced basically four or five guys from Malmö because I had to bring the streaming equipment back. So we had to wait for the finals. But we were drafting, having pretty fun experience there, doing 1.5 drafts basically, because the final did not take as long as we'd hoped. And then we were told to, like, they wanted to close the store. But really fun, and like basically almost everyone that was up, like taking picture for the prizes, looked very happy. I don't think anyone there was, as you said, someone said no drama really.
Yeah.
It was just
yeah, I think I talked to a few people at the locals in the days like up to the event, and especially like with some of the PQs going on elsewhere around in the world, like, and we also had some minor issues at the last PQ in Copenhagen. We were a bit worried, like, how is everything gonna play out? Is it gonna be okay? But like, it was really just a joy. There was no issues for the whole day, at least as far as I know of. No like bigger judge calls or issues with rulings or something like that. Everybody was smiling the most of the day and really good at helping each other as well. So such a pleasure.
Yeah. So hopefully, like, we get more PQs next season, even more. Especially that Faroes now that has like hosted 2 good PQs, get one more next time. I'm convinced they will. Like, there was 50 people, around the same as last time. So
even with also
pretty good turnout
PQs in the rest of the Scandinavia now, like, because I know some people were worried that it was maybe gonna, like, quote unquote scare people away, because okay, if there's one in Stockholm, then why travel? But like, there was still a good number, as you said, almost the same, despite having even more PQs this time around.
Yeah. Which is that's a healthy sign for the game. And like, I think even more people, some people I talked to, like, on this PQ, like, talked about, like, I was not going to Stockholm, not going to Oslo, but like, it got bad, like, this revenge lust after I've been playing in the PQ and not making the top 8, like, they're starting to look at like buses and trains to Oslo, or see, like, it's possible to make it.
I see that. So Copenhagen or the first PQ will just be making the next ones even bigger, I guess.
Yeah, hopefully, like 70 people Oslo. That's what we are hoping for. So yeah, like, we have 3 more Scandinavian PQs coming up. Like, 25th is the Finland one, and then in February it's Stockholm and Oslo. And you were going to both, Stephen, as well.
I am.
Are you traveling solo or with some Danes?
For Oslo, I will be traveling solo. I'm not sure if any other Danes that I know of are going, but Jonah was so nice to invite me over, so how can I say no to that? Wasn't really planning on going to Stockholm, but I got peer pressured a little bit, so I will also come to visit you as well.
Nice. I think the Stockholm one will be pretty. I think the Oslo one will be good too, but like, the Stockholm one is a really nice venue. Actually, like, I think it's gonna be, like, it's even a bar in the, like.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so like, if someone is out and have to wait, or have, like, you can. I think they serve alcohol, like you can take a beer or something, like, for
that's
people.
Pretty nice.
So and like, I think you're gonna be able to, like, maybe pre-order food and stuff like that.
Awesome.
For the lunch and stuff. I think at least it was that, like, when I was there in the box tournament in set 1. So it's gonna be great. I think that's gonna sum up this episode, right?
Yeah.
I think like we're all very happy with the experience, and we are all looking forward to do a little bit better. Jonah's done pretty good, but like in Oslo and Stockholm, making some top eights for you and me as well, Steven.
Yeah, we need to do some work, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and I just want to reiterate, we mentioned it multiple times now, but we are really lucky to have this great of a community.
Yep.
Yes.
Like
Definitely.
how friendly and nice and just welcoming the community has been. It's a pleasant surprise. And
it's
also,
been
I heard
awesome.
it from Christian, the
Yes.
Romanian guy. He was so overwhelmed by the Copenhagen
Oh, that's really nice.
community. Yeah. He had been to Barcelona and is planning to do many PQs in Europe. So
Huh.
let's hope that we will have the best community. He can tell us afterwards.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really nice.
Like I think he said like he's definitely coming back. Something
Yeah,
like that.
that's true, actually.
Which is a very good evaluation. So
Yeah.
nice. Yeah, let's end it there, and we'll be back next week. I will have been attending a store showdown in Göteborg. Not the same, but like maybe taking. Let's see if everyone is playing Boss Green now in Sweden just because of this. But thank you for being on for the first time, Stephen. Hopefully, this is the first time of many.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
And thank you, Jonah, as well, for playing Anakin well.
Thank you. Thanks for hosting.
No problem. So see you all in next week, and may the force be with you all.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.